Welcome back, everyone, for more Santa Lucia. Last time, we get to Bryan and Diego brought Ben to the frat, like, not application, but like interviews, I suppose. And sorry, I didn't have a frat when I was in college, so that's why I'm like, don't really understand. I'm just like Ben. I don't know anything about frat stuff. Like, out of my subject of expertise, I would say. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, so we got that. Diego decides to not deal with that because he's like, I can't smoke weed. I'm out. So, and basically, Ben decides to join Bryan with the various places, various frats. Specifically, what was it? Chi Pi Beta? I think that's what it was. And other than that, we have a weird incident with Ben and Grinder. He accidentally pressed like onto Bryan. That would be awkward. I'm curious to see where that goes. Anyways, I've been stalling for too long. Let's start up. I'm just realizing how much I was like slowly like giving that away, like giving like the breakdown. Let me continue. I am curious to see where it goes, though. That Grinder incident was kind of funny. And also embarrassingly relatable. As I'm sure you all remember from last session, here's where, like, you know, terrible vocabulary knowledge me, like, has to pronounce stuff. Kantian mortally falls under one of the three major philosophical theories. Kantian or Kantian? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm on that still. Theories we call normative ethics. Dr. Shannon walks up and down the stage as she raises three fingers. Does anyone remember what the others are? I scrunch down my seat, smoothing out my ears as they don't stick out. I think I know them, but I don't want to be the guy who thinks he knows and then says the wrong thing. Especially in a class this size. With a soft thud, the back of my head bumps on the chair's headrest. I barely slept a wink last night. How could I when the anxiety is tearing me apart? Hell, I still feel it bubbling inside me right now. I know I shouldn't be making such a big deal out of this, but I'm not like everyone else. It's a big deal to me. That's correct. The professor continues her lecture after getting the answer she wanted from another student. The first of the three is utilitarian ethics, also known as consequentialism. It espouses the idea that actions could be judged based on consequence. As such, the most ethical action is always the one that benefits the most people. She turns around after writing the word consequentialism on the board behind her. The second is virtue ethics, which stems from the teachings of Aristotle. See, at least I can pronounce that. He believes certain virtues of moral character, such as honesty and generosity, should be what all people strive to attain. There's this weird feeling I'm getting. It's hard to shake. I glance around the room. Everyone's busy taking notes from what Dr. Shannon is saying, though there's a particular section of the hall I've been avoiding. I'm sure Bryan's noticed how off I'm acting right now. I think I barely even spoke a full sentence around him this morning. A humming brings my attention back to the dragon sitting next to me. Zach's singing to himself, scribbling away in his notebook. He's in a real good mood this morning, but I'm not exactly sure why. Still, it's nice to see him chilling out, even if it's just for the moment. Wait. Shouldn't I be taking notes right now, too? The third and the focus of our lecture today is what we call... Guys, I'm dumb. Storm Singer, you realize that I'm dumb, right? I'm pure himbo energy over here. I'm like dumber than a box of rocks. Bye. Alright, deontological ethics. That's my attempt. Don't judge me. Of which Kantian, or Kantian, or... I don't know. I'm dumb. Okay, bye. Morality is part of. Crap, I'm really far behind now. I'll lean further to my right, trying to sneak a peek at Zach's notes. Wait a second. I don't think he's paying attention either. His entire page is covered in doodles and sketches. There's a dude flying around in a cape. There's another swinging from a rope. Third one's turning invisible. He's even drawing some logos in the margins. He continues humming away to himself. I know Zach's really into comics, but I didn't expect him to be such a good artist. Still, though, he should be taking notes on the lecture, not doodling and daydreaming. Kant is known for what he called the categorical imperative. As a system of moral principles he believed were universal and applied to everyone in order to create and maintain a functioning society. As such, a moral actor who follows Kantian philosophy, that's going to be my attempt from now on, bye, philosophy needs to be able to identify and obey these universal principles. I do my best to catch up in the notes, but that strange feeling from earlier takes hold of me again. Leaning back, I rub against the base of my neck. Man, it almost feels like I'm being watched. I take another look around the lecture hall, analyzing each face. Nope, everyone's still staring down at their notebooks. Huh? I swear Bryan just looked at me. He had a big goofy grin. Or is it just my tired brain making shit up? When faced with an ethical problem following the Kantian philosophy, or Kantian, one simply needs to understand their moral duties in accordance to the categorical imperative. If a friend asks you to keep a secret for them, it is now your moral duty to keep that secret safe and never break that promise you made. Man, I must be freaking out over nothing. Even if he was looking in my direction, who's to say it was the expression of the purpose of looking at me? I'm just being conceited. I twirl my pen around with my fingers. I know I should be writing right now, but I can't bring myself to do so. What drives a person to follow their duty and not to simply do what they selfishly desire? There it is again. Can't shake it. God, it's so annoying. Huh? I catch Bryan right as he's turning his face to the professor again. He's totally staring at me. Does he know? He totally knows. Keep it together, Rivers. I return my attention back to my notes. All I have to do is ignore it. Just focus on my work. Dr. Shay finishes her lecture on Kantian or Kantian or Kant, I don't know, morality after what feels like an eternity and a half. I throw my notebook inside my backpack and sling it over my shoulder. After telling Zach I'm heading to my next class, I make my way out of the classroom, doing my best to avoid Bryan. No, don't do that. Not today, Panda. Sorry, but no, don't do that. After literature class, I make a beeline for the UC. It looks like I got here relatively early since there isn't a whole lot of people here yet. This suits me just fine. It's nice to sit in a relative quiet once in a while. Yeah. Even got myself a nice greasy burger and some fries. I think I can make an exception on eating healthy for today. Pure carbs is what my body needs. Oh yeah. Start digging in, letting the sweet, sweet meat juices drown out the stressful morning. Really hits the spot. Who am I kidding? It's no use. Can't keep my mind off it. Why does it bother me so much if Bryan knows? It's not like I haven't come out already. I could totally do it again. I hope. I grabbed some fries from my plate and shoved them in my mouth. This whole dating app fiasco is a lot more embarrassing. But he's on it too, so... Come on, liking his profile was totally an accident. Even if he saw, and even if he knew it was me, there's no way he'd think I did it on purpose, right? There's absolutely no reason to feel anxious about this. How Bryan can pop up out of nowhere and I tell it straight to his face. Yo! A tray of food slams down next to me, derailing my train of thought. Oh! My eyes widen when I realize who my rude guest is. Shit. I take it all back. What's up? I take a long, difficult gulp, swallowing everything I had in my mouth before answering. I'm good. And you? Looks like he grabbed the same thing I did. Burger and fries, though it looks like he skipped the slice of tomato. Could be better. All that philosophy shit was boring me to tears. Who even cares about all this Kantian crap anyway? Takes a bite out of his burger in frustration. What about you? I bristle at the question. I'm fine. Can't say philosophy is my favorite topic either. I guess it's all whatever, really. There's a moment of silence as we both eat our food. I can only interpret it as tense and awkward. But I'm sure Bryan's not feeling this way at all. Not when he's smirking at me like that. So, been doing anything interesting lately? I finished chewing my fry before replying. Not really. No. Guess I've been spending all my downtime on a computer these days. He makes a grimace before responding. That ain't good, dude. You should be out there living that college life. If you stay cooped up in your room every day, I'll pass you by in a flash. He bites at one of his fries in emphasis. Just saying, you only get to experience this once. I roll my eyes. Yeah, I've heard it all before. Not everyone's wired the same way as you know. Not the kind of guy who can just meet someone new every day. I, for one, am perfectly content to stay in my room with my roommate. Thank you very much. I pout in what I believe to be an extremely dignified manner. I definitely won this round, if there was any winning to be done. I don't like the way he's looking at me, though. He starts toying with one of his fries. Speaking of, yesterday I was just chilling in my room. Had a big workout an hour before. So I was taking a well-deserved rest before a friend was scheduled to show up. The usual, right? I stare at him in silence. So there I am, browsing my phone when I get a notification from somewhere. It was from one of those hookup apps I used. Oh. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. I get those all the time, so I don't think much of it. Figured it was from a nice hunk that couldn't wait to get a ride, if you know what I'm saying. It's taken all my willpower to not just bolt out of here. I could change my identity, leave everything behind, and skip town. Well, I got curious, so I decided to check it out. To my surprise, it was somebody who liked my profile. Oh god. I tapped on their page and, well... He leans forward, getting uncomfortably close to me. I'm sure you know the rest. Isn't that right, catnap? In this moment of reckoning, my prayers to be smitten on the spot went unanswered. Embarrassment is too much to bear. Out of everyone, it had to be Bryan. Fate truly is a cruel mistress. Bryan, of course, notices my silence and decides to press forward. Anyway, you can't imagine how surprised I was when I saw your picture on that page. Cute pic, by the way. I'm too stunned to register the compliment. I've been waiting all day to talk to you about it, but you're quite the slippery cat. You're really making me work for this, aren't you? I stare at the panda dumbfounded. I'm sure you don't want the others knowing, so I wanted to talk to you one-on-one. That's surprisingly considerate of him. Doesn't mean I'm not going to grill you about it, though. Yeah, that's more along the lines of what I expected. He notices how quiet I've been and leans back. And you ain't got nothing to worry about from me, bro. I'm totally chill with whatever you are. I don't care if you're gay, bi, or something else. I won't tell a soul. He nudges my arm with his shoulder. Just want to thank you for liking my profile. That was quite flattering. I'm not quite sure what to say here. Thanks for not telling the others. I was just trying the app out for a bit and happened to come across your profile. I honestly didn't mean to like it. It was just an accident, really. He doesn't seem to be entirely convinced, but he smiles back nonetheless. Bro, it's okay. You don't need to justify yourself. I get it. Don't worry. We've all had accidents after all. He makes an air quote motion with his fingers. I'm about to say something, but he speaks first. I'm just saying. If you want to get with me, you don't have to go through the whole app shit, you know. I can feel my cheeks flushing red at the idea. He continues on in a suave tone. Leaning forward, he drops his voice down an octave. You've got a ticket to ride me anytime, Ben. Just gotta redeem it. He sits back, leaving behind the smell of his cologne. That is, if you're up for it. Well, I mean, are you serious? He nods his head with an unbreakable confidence, shrugging his shoulders. Never been more serious. I can barely wrap my head around what Bryan just said, let alone from a coherent reply. Me and him? Doing that? I mean, I've fantasized about it a lot, but I've never dreamed it would be possible. Is it even a good idea? He seemed to expect my reaction, so he's keeping his distance. I really could use the space to collect the pieces of my shattered mind. Even though I have no idea what I'm about to say, I open my mouth, even if it's just to fill in the oppressive silence. However, before I can go any further, he holds up his hand and checks his phone. Hold that thought, sorry. We're late for fresh sem lab, so we should probably jet. Crap. Well, I guess that gives me a bit more time to process what just happened. We gulp down the rest of our lunch in a hurry, then rush out the building. I hate to leave this whole thing hanging. I figured talking it out with him would have eased my anxiety, but instead, the space in my brain seems to have been replaced by a very different feeling. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. We make it to this computer science building in what feels like record time. The merciless sun beat down on us the entire way. I'm drenched in sweat by the time we enter the lobby. Bryan's chest rises and falls as he takes in trained breath after trained breath. You can tell just by looking at us which one is the practice athlete and which is the lazy, undisciplined cat. My knees are close to giving out. I struggle to stay standing. In what feels like a Herculean effort, I straighten my back up, trying to take in as much air as possible. I feel a tap on my shoulder. What? Then it pushes me forward with a gentle force. Wait a sec. You have to bend over a bit. It helps you recover. Recover quicker. He demonstrates what he's talking about, resting his hands on his knees. Really? My PE teacher always said there's no air down there or something. He straightens his back up, already rejuvenated. Yeah, mine was the same way. It's a really ignorant and outdated thing that boomers keep teaching kids. You can't argue with the results, though. Bending over helps expand the diaphragm and gives more room for your lungs to take in air. Yay, science. Makes sense he'd know all about that. Gotta take every advantage you can in his chosen profession, huh? I do as he says. Not long after, I'm able to form coherent sentences without much trouble. Thanks, dude. He smiles and leads me down the hall. Around a corner, we end up running into the rest of our group. Oof. That's how I know we're running late. They all in unison look in our direction, and I bet they have all sorts of jokes at our expense prepared. Sup, guys? Hey, Bryan and Ben. Nate waves at us with his usual theatrics. Good evening. Good, everyone's here now. Let's begin. To my surprise, beyond the expected grunt from Carlos, nobody makes mention of our tardiness. I guess we weren't as late as we thought. Today's assignment is going to be a fun one. In fact, it's one of my favorites. So, what is it? Probably something nerdy. It has to be if Chris likes it, right? I hear Carlos groan behind me, though there's a slight tone of agreement in there somewhere. Chris doesn't seem to pay heed to what the others are saying and continues to diatribe. Today we're going to be watching some good old movies. Karina folds her arms and narrows her eyes. Movies, huh? Oh, I bet they're gonna be the artistic kind. You know, the one that makes you think about the meaning of life and love and all that. Karina's managed to hype herself up somehow. To me, this hardly sounds like something we need a whole lab session to do. Well, that's the right idea. I pulled the most interesting ones off the list the mentors gave me. I hope I chose well. After a bit of walking, we arrive at our destination. In the middle of the corridor there are several rooms. They're labeled in sequential order. Media Room 1, Media Room 2, all the way up to 5. Underneath the label of each door, there was an opaque window. It's hard to tell what's inside apart from vague silhouettes. And here we are. These are the media rooms. I love this place. Is there anything on campus you don't love? He takes a few seconds to ponder before pretending he didn't hear the question. Or knowing Chris, maybe he genuinely didn't hear it. I can't believe how lucky we are, too. The other groups aren't gonna have access to them since we ended up having labs during the same period the rooms are free. I made sure to book 3 of them just for us. Not that there's anyone gonna be anyone that bothers us, but better safe than sorry. Oh, this is gonna be it's so exciting. Not to be a downer, Chris, but you still haven't told us what the assignment is. Not everyone likes movies, so it can't be that easy, right? I hear Bryan scoffing next to me. That's a bold claim, Nate. I'm sure Carlos has a complicated relationship with them. I like movies, Panda. But I do not like cinemas. Bryan shrugs in response. See what I mean? Carlos stammers with a faint red hue peeking through his cheek fur. I just don't understand why people have to eat popcorn so loudly. That is all. I'm just messing with you, Tiger. So it seems. Nice. Bryan gives Carlos a thumbs up. Seems like those two are actually starting to find some common ground. Chris takes advantage of the lull in the discussion to bring everyone's attention back to them. To answer your question, Nate, you're correct. We're not simply going to watch these movies. Yeah, figures there's a catch. Get your notebooks ready because you have an essay due on Monday based on the movie you chose. Yeah, that's pretty much what I expected. What are we supposed to be keeping track of? Remember your lecture this morning? Yeah, it was about Kantian ethics. Perfect. Your assignment is to analyze the morals of the characters in your movie and explain them in an essay. But precisely, you're to give a detailed account on how Kant's theories apply to how they act. Oh man, I never liked doing these. I'm not bad at them or anything. I just feel like there's nothing to go off of. It's like I'm making up everything as I go. Oh, that's fabulous. I always enjoyed writing papers like these. And if we get to watch a great movie, that's even better. Totally. This is the kind of thing I do for fun on my blog. I stare at Karina. When did she start liking essays? And what's all this about a blog? Bryan and Carlos both seem to side with me on the situation. They seem like they'd rather be anywhere but here. I notice Bryan's gaze dart between the media rooms. Carlos, on the other hand, looks utterly defeated. Are you sure you like movies, buddy? I trust you all took good notes this morning on Kantian ethics, or Kantian ethics, right? Yeah. I nod in agreement with the others. Try to focus your analysis on the following questions. He raises fingers, counting up from 1. What is free will and how is it expressed? What are the social pressures that limit free will? Is the categorical imperative a form of free will or an obstruction of it? And finally, he stuffs the piece of paper he was reading back in his pocket. Make sure to have fun. Yeah, totally, dude. So I reserved the three rooms over here. I prepare the projectors inside with one of 3 different movies. They're ready to play as soon as we pick the rooms we want to go to. So just pick the one you like the most from the list. Sit down and enjoy classic. I raise my hand to ask a question. Yes, Ben? Is this a group assignment? He lights up at the question. Oh, I almost forgot. This is an individual assignment, but nothing says you can't share insights with your fellow movie watcher. Oops. Alright, cool. He steps up to the first door and knocks on it. So let me tell you what this room's movie. He proceeds to give a brief introduction to the film, waiting behind each door. Honestly, they all sound kind of lame. Lame and boring, lame and long, lame and French. None of these movies sound appealing at all. I mean, if it's like French expressionist movies, then maybe they might be alright. Because, like, you know, nice and extreme. Admittedly, I'm no connoisseur. But even Karina and Nate seem pretty dubious of the selection on hand. The second one on offer looks like... Wait, no. I'm sorry, I have to pause real quick, but somebody will probably correct me. But, like, I'm either thinking of fresh French people. No, I'm thinking of either French expressionism or French, like, extremism or something like that. I know there's, like, a movement of films where, like, a bunch of French people are like, hey, let's take, like, explicit stuff to the extreme. I forgot what that movement was called, but those would be interesting. Just, like, Chris is just like, hey, here's 3 movie rooms. They all have, like, really, like, graphic films. And we gotta figure out, like, the philosophical morality in them. Oh my gosh, I'm sure Dev will, like, give me, a lesson on that. Anyway, the second one on offer looks just as bad as the rest, but the terrible cover at least gives me the hope it'll be the funny bad kind. Should have expected this the kind of selection from a guy like Chris. And a guy like me, who on the other hand seems positively delighted by his picks. I'll go with this one. Carlos stands by the French rom-com behind door number 3. Wait, isn't that the shortest one of the bunch? Chris makes note of Carlos's choice before moving on to me. What about you? Have you made a choice? I take a look at the options. The one in the middle still sounds the most appealing to me. Some kind of weird cyberpunk dystopian movie from the 80s. Looks like a parody of a more famous movie in my opinion. I'll go with number 2. Chris jots down something on his notepad before letting me inside the room. I'm not quite sure what I expected from a media room, but certainly not this. The room is very dim and smaller than I imagined. Instead of a repurposed classroom like it seemed it would be, instead it looks more like a miniature theater. A row of 5 seats are arranged in a line before a projection screen. Behind them on the other side of the room, there's a projector suspended from the ceiling. Underneath it, there's a desk with a computer screen on it. This is actually pretty cozy. Too cozy, maybe. I hope the movie is stimulating enough. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I won't make it past the first 10 minutes. I check out the desk by the projector and find a post-it note on the computer screen. Turn off the lights and press play. Enjoy. Thanks, Chris. I turn around looking for the light switch. Hey, dude, long time no see. I feel my heart skip a beat. You picked this movie too? Well, it's the only one that looked like I wasn't gonna shrivel up and die of boredom midway through. He lets himself fall onto the central chair. Hey, these are actually kind of comfy. Even if they don't have armrests. I can feel my heart thumping. I'm glad I don't have to sit through this alone, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to pretend that nothing's going on between us. He swivels and around on the chair, soft fabric rustling underneath his weight. Besides, we didn't finish our little talk earlier. The media room is as private as it gets, huh? Man, what was I expecting? Of course he'd press the topic. I'm not quite sure what else there is to talk about, frankly. I push play on the video before moving away from the desk. The switch for the lights is right beside the door, so I make sure to flip it off before sitting down. With Bryan right in the middle, I really don't have much of a choice besides sitting next to him. It would look pretty odd if I took one of the further seats. Really? Nothing at all? He leans back on his chair, getting a good view of the screen. How about giving me an answer? An answer to what? Question I asked you before we left the VC, duh. I let out a deep sigh. Shouldn't we try and focus on the film? He smirks in reply. If you answer the question, then we can pay attention to the movie. It ain't rocket science, man. Sorry, I'm just drinking from some bottled water. I don't even remember what the question was. That's a blatant lie, of course. His words have been echoing inside my mind ever since they left his lips. It doesn't take long to call me out on it. You expect me to believe that? It's okay if you're not interested, by the way. He shrugs his shoulders. Some people just don't roll that way. It's all good. The projector screen lights up with the opening scenes of the movie. Bryan's offer has left me with a lot to think about. Do I roll that way? I'm not even sure what I want at this point. Can't believe I'm in this embarrassing situation just because I wanted to get laid on that dumb app. This is what I wanted, right? So then what's the problem now? Bryan's making an enthusiastic offer. He's hot, and I'm sure most gay dudes on campus would kill to go around with him. And he's into me, of all people? Why am I being so coy about this? It's not like there's a prize waiting for me if I chicken out. There isn't anyone waiting for me after I'm done with university to deliver a medal for longest abstinence. I have absolutely nothing to lose doing this. And even if I find a boyfriend later, I can just cut this off at any time. I can feel my cheeks flare up as I hear the sound of my own voice. Yeah, I'm down with it. I'm sure it'll be fun. I hesitate to look at Bryan's reaction, but I gather my courage. Instead of the smug look of victory, he has a genuine smile on his face. That's cool. Don't think I'm doing it as a favor or anything. I wouldn't ask if I didn't want it myself. My face is really burning up right now. There's just something about you that drives me crazy. I guess feisty cats with a temper turn me on. He turns his attention back to the movie, probably picking up on the fact he isn't going to get another word out of me for a bit. Let's focus on the movie for now. We can talk after. I nod sheepishly, my ears burning. I stare at the screen, but nothing is registering. This movie's gonna feel a lot longer than I expected it would. When we open the door, we find Chris standing with his back to the wall. Seems like he stepped out of his film early just in time to meet us as ours finished. I'm glad he didn't decide to check in on us. Pretty sure the scent, the lingering scent in there is strong. How was the movie, guys? I hope you took lots of notes. I sure did. Wait, is he supposed to do the assignment too? Yeah, it was okay. Wasn't sure I'd like it at first. Seemed kind of boring. But I think I managed to make some connections with what I remember from lecture this morning. Chris buys Bryan's word hook, line sinker. That's great! I'm glad this went well. I take my eyes off the overly excited shepherd, contemplating what just happened. Bryan lied so effortlessly about it. It's like nothing even happened, but I can feel my pants growing tighter again just thinking about it. Chris seems to pick up on my hesitation. And just like a predator, he pounces on my moment of weakness. How about you, Ben? You seem a little quiet. Did you not like it? Shit, I don't even know. No, it's not that. It just wasn't really my thing. I struggle to babble a lie through my teeth. Poor Ben still hasn't recovered from the shock. I think he needs some space. Shock? Yeah, you didn't warn us about that super raunchy sex scene in the middle. It was crazy graphic, dude. He nudges my shoulder and gives me a wink. Our friend Ben didn't take it so well. He just wasn't the same after the first two cream pies, you know? Are you serious? Somehow the lie is just as embarrassing as the truth. I'm not a prude. Well, I don't think I'm a prude. Chris, on the other hand, looks like he just saw a loved one get hit by a truck. I'm sorry, Ben. Mouth agape, he blusters out an apology. I've never seen it myself. I just picked the ones that looked interesting from the list they gave us. If I knew, I would have picked something else. Chris is in full damage control mode. I decided to play along with Bryan's lie. It's fine, don't worry about it. I'll just write around that part in my essay. Gonna be hard to find some Kantian philosophy and all that raunch. God, I'm so sorry. I endure several minutes of Chris's apologetic pleas, much to Bryan's amusement. The others eventually start coming out of their respective rooms. We take a moment to discuss the movies together before heading out. I try to make myself as small as possible so no one would call on me. I didn't take away a single thing from that crappy movie. I guess I'll look up a summary when I get home. As we leave the building together, I catch Bryan giving me a wink and a thumbs up. I'm curious what movie they saw. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't really know too many French films. So, like, if there's like a reference there, I don't really know. If I'm thinking of like old movies that like French movies that I can think of. Like, I know there's one. There's like Fantastic World. I think that animated movie. I think that was French, right? And then there's, I forgot the name of it, but like there's this French movie that like where I kind of forgot about it. It wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't my type of movie. But like, I'll have to think about it one of these days. But like, there's this movie where like this guy was just trying to like take this like guy's like money or whatever through him dying. I guess I don't know. It was weird. And the only other ones I can think of is like Phantomas or something. Though I really haven't watched that movie. I just like the band that the name is based off of. But I will actually check out the movie one of these days. I heard it's interesting, so I'll definitely give it a watch. Anyways, off my tangent, I need to like actually like read this. Bye. As much as I'm anxious about it, I'm really looking forward to the next time we meet. Also, I noticed that we missed a sex scene, which honestly is fine because what I've learned from this game is that this game does not hold back on the not safe for work content, and I had to swap it to the safe for work content, especially after, Ben's masturbation scene. I was like, yeah, I don't think YouTube will let me fly with this for much longer. I'm already a small enough channel as it is. All they can do is just like take my channel off, so with no problem whatsoever. Anyways, let's continue. I run forward in the pitch black. Every muscle in my body is on fire as the adrenaline courses through my veins. My perked up ears are clearly able to pick up the sound of the pursuer not far behind me. I can't let him catch me. I just have to keep running. Time seems to distort in front of my eyes. Above me, the stars spin around the sky in circles. Like a mobile that hangs over a child's crib. The wind blows harder, causing the leaves in the trees to fly everywhere, obscuring my already limited vision in the dark night. It practically feels like he's breathing down my neck. There has to be some way I can lose him. I dive to the left in time to avoid his knife downstroke, which lodges into the branch I nearly tripped over. I struggle to catch my breath as I watch my assailant rise up from the ground. We can play this game all night, little boy. He turns his head so he's looking at me while dusting off his weapon. You'll be running for a long time. I'm crawling backwards, away from him as he slowly approaches me. But eventually, you'll run out of steam. Beneath his hood, I see the faintest hint of a smile as the moonlight shines off his teeth. You see, you can avoid me as long as you like. Before I can go any further, he grabs me by the neck and lifts me so effortlessly. I only need to catch you once. Before the knife is able to plunge into my chest, I muster up enough strength to punch the fucker as hard as I can in the face. I gasp for air while he recoils in pain. This is it. This is the make it or break it moment. I have to get back to the cabin. That's my only salvation. I take off down the way I came. If I get... I fall to the ground. As I cough, I watch the blood pour out of my mouth, staining the dirt crimson. He kneels down next to me. Your blood will make a wonderful offering. Fuck you. With what little strength I have, I turn my head towards him and spit everything in my mouth at him. Just like the old woman. Why can't you die? God! I feel the knife in my back twist. With a little dignity. He stands back up and pulls an empty jar out from behind his cloak. I watch in terror as he wipes his knife away from wipes his knife off so my blood pours into it. Would it be a shame to waste this precious nectar? You're insane. I'm so tired. My eyes are beginning to close, but shall we begin the next phase? He slowly approaches, brandishing the knife in a way that tells me everything I need to know. I'm going to die here. Please, don't do this. You don't have to do this. I cough up another mouthful of my blood. From out of seemingly nowhere, a branch swings and hits my assailant in the back of the head. They fall to the ground next to me. Ben! A dragon I recognize runs up to me after dropping the thick branch to the floor. Ben! Zach. You're bleeding. I can't hold myself up anymore. I collapse to the ground and use what's left of my strength to roll over and face my friend. Sorry I couldn't find you. Don't say that. Take my hand. I open my eyes one last time. He reaches down to me. I did the only thing left for me to do. When I come to, I find myself sitting up in my bed. What? I can't help but yawn and stretch out my arms. Ow! 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 That's when a familiar pain shoots up my spine. Feels like I got stabbed in the back. Again. I reach around and feel the spot from earlier this week. Nothing. Just like that, the pain fades away. Just my brain feeling things that aren't there. What else is new at this point? I slide out of bed and continue my morning stretches, glancing over at Zach's side of the room. It's also no surprise that he's nowhere to be found. And I really wanted to thank him for something. I stop my stretches and tweak my head to the side in confusion. Thank him for what exactly? That's weird. I haven't even said more than a few words to each other ever since we got back from Cambrian Valley. What could I possibly have to thank him for? Oh well, it's probably nothing. Just me being grateful he's not one of those psycho roommates I always heard about. Though sometimes he really straddles the line. Maybe I'll tell him thanks anyway the next time I see him. I may not remember why I want to tell him that, but maybe he will? Man, what time is it anyway? My body's a lot stiffer than usual, and I have one of those distinct headaches you get when you sleep too long. I heart sinks when I check my clock and see it's almost noon. Cripes, I'm a walking, talking college stereotype at this point. I should get washed up and grab some lunch before the lunchtime rush comes. I wonder if Karina's up for it. With one last stretch of my leg, I walk over to my desk and grab my phone. I send Karina a brief text asking if she wants to have lunch with me. I'm busy right now. Sorry, Benny boy. Well, shit. So much for that. I think about who else I could invite. Maybe Nate? Nah, he's probably got some theater stuff he's doing right now. I doubt Carlos would be up for it either. He seems like the kind to take his weekends very seriously. As for Bryan, well, I know the weekends are prime for football practice. I wouldn't want to get him in trouble with his coach if he checks his phone during practice. It's not like I have Russell available to hang out with anymore. Guess I'm gonna have to grab a bite to eat all by myself. Tray in hand, I wander into the cafeteria to find a place to sit. I wonder why I keep settling for mediocre sandwiches when I could walk a few blocks up the road and get a monster sub. My mood drops when I remember who told me the little tip in the first place. At least I don't have to go far for food. Looking around, the cafeteria seems emptier than it usually is during the week. I think it's because everyone has more time to go out and do stuff. They don't have to keep one foot on campus because their next class is only a few minutes off. They're probably all about wandering the town and having the time of their life. All those restaurants, museums, and even a small theme park. Yeah, here I am doing the same thing every day. Go to UC for lunch, grab a mediocre sandwich, sit somewhere in the back so no one can see me. I roll my eyes at myself. Such a creature of habit. There's one thing that Russell taught me. It's that I need to broaden my horizons. He may be a piece of shit, but his lessons still ring true if I ignore the person giving them. I swallow a bit of pride and decide I'm going to sit in the most conspicuous sections of the cafeteria. It goes against everything I learned in high school, where it was my best interest to be as invisible as possible. Who knows? Maybe one of my friends will see me and decide to join me. Or maybe someone pretty cool who I don't know yet decided to pity a lonely looking cat and start a conversation. The possibilities are practically endless. With a smile, I take the first bite out of my sandwich and hope for the best. I sit staring down at my empty plate and the last bit of soda left in my cup. So much for that idea. I lean back in my chair with my arms folded. As it turns out, nobody wants to sit next to a guy who doesn't look like he wants to be bothered. Maybe I should have been more welcoming? I sure didn't smile at anyone as they walked by. Why do I have a bitchy resting face like Carlos? Is that why nobody wants to be around me right now? Man, what would I do for a little bit of charisma like Nate and Bryan have? Howdy, Ben. Fancy seeing you here today. Oh, what? Oh, I think I know who that is. My ears perk up when I hear a familiar southern accent. Oh, hey, Shay. Literally one of the last people I expected to see. She pulls up a chair opposite me and sits down with a big bowl of chicken salad. I hope you don't mind me joining you. No, not at all. Go ahead. I can't really look her in the eye. Not after catching her with Chris that night. I find myself looking in every direction except hers. What's wrong? Do I have something on my face? She wipes across her mouth in a slight panic. No, sorry. It's just, I scratch behind my left ear and look off to the side. Oh, I get it. It's me, isn't it? I carefully consider my next move. Yeah. Besides, it's probably better to just come clean. Sorry, it's nothing personal, but it's kind of awkward for me, you know? She nods her head in understanding. Don't worry about it. If you'd like me to leave, I will. But before I go, I want to take the opportunity to thank you. Huh? Her words finally catch my attention enough to get me to look at her directly. That's right. What for? I sit with a perplexed expression. We hardly know each other. Exactly. That's why I'm so thankful you kept your word. You didn't have to keep Chris's secret, but you did anyway. The plan was to keep things as low-key as possible, but you didn't expect a loser like me stumbling on your meeting in the forest. Don't say that. You're not a loser, Ben. I roll my eyes. I'm practically the loser extraordinaire of campus. Well, I think you're cool. And it's not just because you're keeping a secret from me. For some reason, she's making me feel embarrassed. Chris adores you, by the way. Huh? He's always talking about his students, but you're the one who comes up the most. It's like you're his measure. What's that supposed to mean? It means he judges how well he's doing as a mentor by how you respond to things. Really? Me, of all people? If I may speak out of line for a moment, I really think he's trying to impress you. Why? Shay shrugs her shoulders and smiles. That, I couldn't tell you. Huh? It's not like I'm that special, right? I'm sorry for how we acted that night. Chris feels really bad about holding your grades over your heads. Yeah, that was a bit surprising. Just so you know, he wasn't doing that to protect himself. He did that to protect the two of you. Were you really planning on going deeper in the forest? I think back to how Chris was acting. He kept pressing on. I wish I knew why. Zach was, but... well, he's an odd one. Never really know what's going on in that guy's mind. I guess that makes sense. Anyway, I hope this whole mess didn't change the way you think about Chris too much. I paused for a moment to consider what to say. No, not really. A little white lie never hurt. To be honest, I didn't really give it much thought after the fact. Especially considering everything else that happened that night. For sure. Well, I'd still like to make it up to you. Apologizing doesn't feel like enough. No, you don't have to do anything. I insist. I'm just glad to see that Chris isn't the virginal freak he comes across as. She bursts out into laughter. I know what you mean. Though, you may not be far off on your impression. You're kidding. We haven't done much in the way of intimacy. I crook my head to the side slightly. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but... give it a little bit more time. Chris seems like the guy who wants to go slow. Like, really save the moments together. You think so? That, or you can try being more forward. Can't believe I'm giving relationship advice to Shay right now. You mean, yeah. If you want it, you gotta tell him. He's a bit dense. She laughs again, this time almost choking on her mouthful of salad. You're right. Thanks, Ben. No problem. It's kind of funny. She was the last person I wanted to talk to earlier, and now here we are having a nice time. Unlike Karina, I don't think there's a way I could dislike Shay even if I tried. You know, I had this weird thought occur to me last week. It's gonna sound dumb, but bear with me. I'm all ears. Karina seemed to hit it off really well with my roommate Zach. Whereas the two of you seem to be at odds with each other since the beginning. We're getting better. Yeah, I know. That's what she said too. I take a sip from my cup. At this point, I'm just drinking the melted ice at the bottom. I guess my point is that you and I get along well enough. Karina and Zach get along really well. She looks over at me with her enticing blue eyes. Again, it's super dumb. But I had this thought, if it weren't for that whole gender separation thing, Karina and I would have been much better with each other, with each other's roommates. That's not dumb at all. It's actually kind of cute. She beams at me with a genuine smile. It took some time, but Karina and I are starting to get along really well. I take it it's the same for you and your roommate. I definitely have to stop and think about this one. We do, at least I think. Maybe we could hang out together more, but he doesn't make it easy, huh? Shake my head. Sometimes I wonder if he would have preferred one of those solo rooms at the other end of the building. Sounds to me like he just needs some time to warm up to you. I'm sure by the end of the semester you'll be the best of friends. She gives me some nice warm words of encouragement. Thanks. What works for me is trying to meet new friends on their own terms. I'd do that, but he's hardly ever around. That just means you'll just have to try harder. Maybe tag along with him when he goes somewhere. I'm sure he wouldn't mind the company. I raised my eyebrow at her suggestion. That's not a bad idea, actually. Why didn't I think of that? I fold my arms and look the other way. I guess I was expecting Zach to come to me, not the other way around. You're welcome. See? Told you I'd make it up to you. I stick around a bit longer talking to Shay. Turns out she shares a class with Zach too. Makes sense, seeing how they're both in the pre-med program. Overall, this was a surprisingly nice meeting with someone I didn't expect. Here's hoping that things go well between her and Chris. Unsurprisingly, I find myself alone in the dorm when I make it back. I take the opportunity to fill in my sister on everything that's happened this week. Or, well, most of it at least. Before sending the email, I read it over once more to make sure everything sounds good. That was something she always did for me. She'd always look over my essays and proofread them before I'd turn them in. Jess always wanted to be an editor working for one of the big publishers. She was so close too. Without dwelling on it any further, I decide I'm satisfied with what I wrote and hit send. What a crazy week. Wait, what? I was just squint my eyes to make sure what I'm seeing on screen is real. At the top of my inbox, there's an unread message. There's no title. The message preview only says hello. My eyes widen though. That on its own is creepy enough, but when I see the address of the sender, it's from my sister's account. All I All I can do right now is stare at the message in my inbox. I feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand on still. No, this can't be right. I take a deep breath to still my nerves, then click on the email. It just says hello. Nothing else. My blood runs cold. Could it be? How could it? Why now? Had she been... I shake my head. No. That's completely impossible. I saw her body there in the coffin. My sister is dead. There's no getting around that. So then what the fuck is this? All the fear I felt earlier has given way to a quiet rage in my veins. There's only one real explanation for this. Someone hacked into my sister's account. Gah. I have half a mind to respond to the message, telling them to fuck right off, but I close my eyes and take another deep breath. Moments later, I close my laptop. I sit back in the chair with my hands behind my head. I suppose I had this coming. Sending letters to my dead sister isn't exactly the healthiest thing to do. And yet... what's done is done. I can't keep blaming myself forever. That's the last thing Jess would have wanted. She would have been so proud of me. I managed to get into one of the top universities in the nation. But here I am, still stuck, living in the past. I close my eyes and breathe. I can't keep doing this. The hacker was a wake-up call. At this point, I'm just holding on to a ghost in my head. Nothing's gonna bring my sister back from the dead. I think it's time for me to grow up and move on. Whether or not I meant to, my eyes slowly open. I don't move from my position. In my half-awake state, I'm met with nothing but pitch blackness in my dorm room. This is unusual. It's not often I get a dreamless night of sleep. Every time it happens, though, my eyes glance over at the only source of light in the room. My digital clock's numbers glow red in the dark, clearly shining even from across the room. It's almost 5 a.m. Yeah. Every time I get a dreamless night, I wake up extremely early. I'm not sure what's worse. I hear rustling coming from the other bed in the room. Sounds like Zach's waking up too. I hear a soft thump as his feet reach the floor. I close my eyes again, preferring to not have him notice I'm awake right now. What a strange schedule he has. Still want to talk to him about something? For the life of me, I can't remember why. I have this feeling I owe him a thank you. It's not like he gives me many opportunities to do so. The only time I saw him yesterday was when I got back from the library. And he was already fast asleep in his bed. Wasn't even out that late. Carefully opened one eye slightly. I sense movement in the room. I faintly make out the figure of my roommate as he reaches for something on his desk. In moments, a faint light emanates from the end of his cell phone. My heart starts racing for some reason. I can't see almost anything, but I can tell he isn't wearing much. Occasionally the light flashes off one of his blue scales. I can't believe I never noticed how little he wears to bed. Then again, it's kind of hard to get a good look when he practically buries himself in the sheets and blankets. I anxiously wait for my eyes to adjust to the darkness, but I'm still not able to see much. God, Ben, this is your roommate. Stop being such a pervert. Out of respect for Zach's privacy, I close my eyes again. I doubt he expects me to be up this early, since it's not like I ever have. If I were him, I'd hate to find out that my roommate was peeping on me while I thought he was asleep. My eyes swing open without my control when I hear a closet door slide open. For a split second, I catch a glimpse of Zach bending over to grab a basket from the bottom of the closet. My mind must be filling in the blanks. I can't see much really, but I know exactly what I'm looking at. The image fades quick enough, but it leaves me in a really tense state. I watch as a shadowed figure now shines his light on the top shelf, then reaches up and pulls down a towel. The flashlight on his phone then turns off. I hear the sounds of him wrapping the towel around his waist. Then from what I can vaguely make out in the darkness, he reaches down, grabs the basket, and heads for the front door. He gently opens it, allowing the light from the hallway to briefly pour into the room. Then he slips out and closes it behind him. My heart is still racing. If it weren't for the absence of light, I would have had quite the show. Now there's nobody to hear me. I roll over and put my hands behind my head. Yeah, there's no way getting back to sleep after that. Honestly, with how much homework I have to do still, it's probably not a bad idea for me to get up to. I lay here pondering for a moment before I make up my mind. I quickly slide out of bed and do a quick stretch to get the morning stiffness out of my muscles and a particular region below the belt. I accidentally graze my hand against the dresser in the darkness. Screw it, I'm gonna turn on the lights. I glance around the room. It really doesn't look much different than it does at night. Kind of puts into perspective how early I'm up. I return to my spot to continue my brief stretch routine. Now that I'm up, I really don't know what to do. Didn't really think that through, did I? I walk over to my desk and continue turning on the laptop. Imagine Zach's shock if he were to walk in and I'm up as if nothing's out of the ordinary. I've been meaning to talk to him. Right now, he's just down the hall. Who knows if he'll stick around long enough when he comes back. Man, if I want to have this meeting with him, I'm probably going to have to force it. It'll definitely be a weight off my mind, that's for sure. What's the harm? It's not like I haven't showered with other guys before. What makes Zach any different? Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I don't have much to lose, and it's not like he'll be able to go anywhere fast. With my mind made up, I gather my own shower supplies and make my way for the restroom. As expected, the sound of running water echoes from the corner around the corner. I do my best to hold the towel wrapped around my waist in place. No matter how hard I try, I can never figure out how to tie it well enough to stay up on its own. Mood. I stop right there. I stop right before I walk into the shower section. This will be the first time I've ever seen Zach in any state of undress. I don't know why, but the thought of it really excites me. I take a deep breath and finally round the corner. It doesn't seem like he's noticed me. Probably because he's facing the other direction. I watch as the water flows down his back and tail, occasionally dripping off his arms. He lathers soap around his body, making sure to get under his many scales. To my surprise, he also seems to be humming a tune to himself. Between that and the sound of running water, there's no way he heard me coming in. Not wanting to stick around and be a creepy gawker, I take the shower head directly behind Zach and turn it on after tossing my towel onto the rack. The sound of my shower starting finally manages to catch his attention. He quickly turns around, holding his tail over his crotch. Ben! What are you doing here? Can't help but chuckle under my breath. Every time I think he can't get any shyer, he finds a way to prove me wrong. What does it look like I'm doing? Taking a shower. But why now? Shrug my shoulders. I couldn't sleep and I saw you leaving the room, so I figured I'd join you for a bit. He stands there holding his tail while the water pours down over him. Relax, dude. It's not like we have any different parts. I look at the horn on his nose and the fins on his head. Well, besides the obvious. I let the water run through my hair a bit before I pour a little shampoo in the palm of my hand. You're a hard guy to spend time with, you know? I've been wanting to talk to you all week, but you're always busy doing something. Sorry. Since I couldn't sleep, I figured I'd get a feel for what your morning routine is like. Do you always shower this early in the morning? Yeah. I never liked having to shower with the others in school. They'd always make fun of me. Really? Those guys were jerks, man. Don't pay them any mind. At this point, I've lathered the shampoo thoroughly through my hair and I'm beginning to wash it out. So, I picked a time where I was sure nobody else would be around to shower. I can feel a wave of empathetic anger flow through me. God, I hate bullies. I turn to face Zach without shame. Hey, listen to me. But Ben! I wave a hand toward him. I don't care if you have what I have. It's not that big a deal, dude. Listen, you have nothing to be shy about. Those guys are long gone. They were never worth your time to begin with. I've been trying to lose weight, though. Come on, Zach. You have nothing to worry about because you look great. No matter what anybody says. His gaze finally reaches mine. You really think so? Totally, dude. For the first time since this conversation started, the dragon has a smile on its face. Thanks. I stand with my fists on my hips. Now, why don't you let your guard down just this once? I will. It's just hard, okay? Yeah, I get that it's difficult, but... I mean, it's hard. Oh. Oh! It finally dawns on me what he means by that. My cheeks flush red. Okay then, I didn't mean to. I just... No, I get it. Don't worry. This is an awkward situation at all. Yeesh, I didn't mean to put him on the spot there. It's just a bodily function after all, right? There's nothing to be ashamed of. No, I can't deny the dirty thoughts that are running through my mind right now. Are you sure? Totally. Alright. The tail falls to the ground and with a small splash. My eyes widen as Zach finally stands before me in all his glory. He still has a shy smile on his face, though. My God. With what he's packing. He's a freaking Adonis. A few seconds I watch as the water drips off the end of his chunk feels like hours. I can't believe how big he is. The hormones cloud my head thoroughly. I wonder if he'd been up to... Ben? I snap out of it. Yeah? Are you okay? At this point, I can feel the situation start to form in my own nether region. I quickly turn around so that way my back's facing him and return my focus to getting clean. I'm fine, don't worry. Oh, alright. Looking over my shoulder, I see a shadow fall over the dragon's face. I might be sending the wrong message. I should probably tell the truth. Sorry, man, it's not what you're thinking. I gulp down the rest of my hesitation and turn around again. I'm sure by now he's noticed what I've got going on below. I guess this was a little awkward for me too. Are you? Yeah, kinda. Look, I honestly didn't expect you to be so gifted down there. You're freaking huge, dude. I point down at my puny length to make a point. I'm a total joke in comparison. You? You're feeling this way because of me? I nod with an embarrassed smile. The awkwardness quickly fades as the wall between us finally crumbles. As we get used to the sight of each other in the nude, our conversation becomes a lot more casual. I completely forgot why I wanted to talk to him in the first place. We return to the room with our towels wrapped around our waists. With all pretense of modesty out of the way, there's no point in hiding ourselves from each other. Once the door's closed, I immediately toss my towel off to the side and jump onto my bed. After a moment of hesitation, Zach tosses his aside too and stands next to his computer. Man. So nice to be naked in my own room without having to worry about being seen. I splay out, enjoying this newfound freedom. I know what you mean. I haven't had this luxury for years, dude. I've been sharing rooms for 3 or 4 years now. You don't know how much I missed it. It's pretty fun, yeah. When I hear the sound of his closet door opening, I absentmindedly glance over and get a face full of Zach as he bends over to store his shower supplies. God, I wish I could have some of that. This was nice. We should do it again sometime. I angle my legs so he doesn't see my growing situation. He has to know what he's doing, right? Yeah, I agree. It was fun getting to know you a bit better, dude. You're right. Sometimes I just need to put my guard down. Thank you for teaching me that, Ben. No problem. Now, Suddenly looks serious. I think I'm gonna put some clothes on, if you don't mind. His face is scarlet red. Oh, yeah, go for it. I wait a little bit more in my bed to get more comfortable. As for me, I might just get a little extra sleep in. All this excitement has kind of tired me out. Okay. I pull the sheets up over my still bare body. No sense in putting anything on if I'm just gonna fall asleep again. Alright, I'm gonna end it here. I know I probably should have ended it at the email, but I felt like I should have ended it on a higher note. So yeah. There's definitely a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to unpack here, and oh my lord, like, the dreams are coming back. It seems like the relationship between Bryan and Ben are kind of blossoming a bit. Probably more sexually than romantically, but, you know. It's nice seeing Zach getting closer to Ben, or Ben getting closer to Zach, either or, I guess. And just the Shay stuff. There's a lot of stuff that happened here. It's amazing to me because, like, last episode, like, it kind of went a little slow, but, like, now just all of it just kind of happened at once, and I'm like, wow, what is there to unpack? I love this. Love this, love this, love this. I can't wait for more. I want to play more. But until next time, so everyone, this is the end of the episode. Hope you all are doing well, and I'll see you guys next time for more Santa Lucia. Bye.